I feel like we talk about the Eagles and whether they can flip a switch and what's wrong with them
No.
every single week. I mean, what a disastrous finish it was to have the Giants just light them up, and then, A.J. Brown grabs his knee. I mean, what a fitting meme for the quarterback of the Eagles to have a middle finger extended, right? I mean, so I don't know what the question is. Are they going to get one and done, do you think, in Tampa?
There's a good chance. I mean, there's a good chance. The only saving grace they have right now is, hey, if you dig deep, you can run the ball. Like if you dig deep and think about it hard, you might be able to run the ball in this group. Like I remember they closed out that Tampa game. Now things are way different this time around, but they closed that Tampa game out with a nice long drive where they just got whatever they wanted. And I can't get that out of my head. But on the other end of things, like I can't get what I saw yesterday out of my head. And I can't get what I've seen the past 4 to 6 weeks out of my head. And boy, they did a number on us, like fooling us into thinking. I think coming into the season, we knew they weren't the same team. I don't know about you guys, but like being a Philly guy and knowing that roster and knowing how it is coming off a Super Bowl, didn't think they were going back, but to be this different than the team we thought they were, which is really impressive to come off of a Super Bowl loss and start the way they started. I don't know if it just the bottom fell out. When you're not accustomed to making these runs, like New England for all those years, I think the most amazing thing that they did, besides just winning them, is going back and going back and going back. Like that process is draining. And now if you're going to be that team that expects to play deep into January, you can't run out of steam. You can't have the injuries you had. You can't have the design flaws you had on defense. And I don't like Baker Mayfield's missing a lot of balls right now. So maybe that's your best shot, but I don't feel confident about them winning at Tampa. No.
And then, I mean, of all the years for the Cowboys to get that 2 seed, to get some home games, it's a year in which I think you can make the case that the 6 and 7 seeds are better than the 5 seed in the NFC playoffs currently going in last 2 months.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, the Packers look really good. I know defensively they were like the cheeseheads, the holes in the cheeseheads up until the last, I guess, 6 quarters of the regular season. But Love is playing. I mean, playing his mind off right now.
Love's great, and I'm not trying to throw the word great around like he's a great player yet, but this stretch has been great. I mean, the way he's taking care of the football,
right.
I like his maturity. I've always liked his maturity. Anytime you stick a mic in his face, he's saying the right things. He projects the right kind of leadership. And I think the part of that is, and it's a perfect storm when you don't get a lot of guys that sit for a while and learn. The guy on the other sideline, and there's discussion swirling around what they do with him. He's had the opposite experience, like you get a Matt Nagy year, light that thing on fire. Look who he's throwing to year 2. And then look at the game yesterday. Look at the game plan. And I want to give the Packers credit. They sacked him on like 5 of his 22 dropbacks. Like a quarter of the time you drop back, you're getting sacked, and they weren't coverage sacks. So the Packers defense, some of the things they did to mess with the protection, overloading one side, walking Quay Walker up and occupying a guard, like the stuff they did up front, I've really liked their rushers all year long. I haven't liked the design of the defense at times. But when they can win up front like that at home, now they're not going to be playing home games for the most part here, right? At all. They're going to have to go on the road and take this show on the road. But they're solid. They did the same thing to Kansas City they did to Chicago, like force long drives that end up in field goals early in the game, not dominate time possession, but control time possession, run the football with Aaron Jones in there. They look really complete. If the defense can stay out of those situations that make Baker Mayfield look like, all world and all these games that you can pick out that Joe Barry and that defense is kind of underwhelmed. I take them seriously, man. And honestly, talking about the NFC, Dallas getting home games, there is a scenario where they get 3 of them.
Yep.
Right. Because I think the one team that I don't feel great about anybody beating the Niners in the NFC, but I think the Rams can give them a fight. And so let's say there's a situation where the Rams knock them out, then for Dallas fans, it's like, we could go, so I think for Dallas, things fell really well. And for a team a year ago that lost, I think, to Washington by 20 points, you're looking at the Eagles game, And it's easy to think, oh, it's unprecedented to crater like this when you're supposed to be resting your starters. You end up resting your starters the other way. Washington beat Dallas at the end of the season when they had a little something to play for. And so this is a different Dallas team. They went in and handled their business. It would have gotten really ugly if not for that blocked field goal.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.